Alright everybody, this is Eternal Blade here, and welcome to part 2 of the Flintlock pistol tutorial. If you've made it this far, congratulations. We're well on our way to having a fully functional pistol here. It's coming along quite nicely, so without further ado, let's jump right back in. So we were working on this section when we last met. So what we're going to want to do is simply bring this forward, and just like that. There we go. Now we're going to want to maybe increase these just a bit in size. So press R just so it covers a little more territory. There we go. Maybe bring these ones back in just like so. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now looks like this edge here is a little too close, so we're going to back it off a bit so we get a little more of a smooth transition. And even more so than that, I think what we're going to do is select these edges here and bring them down. Alright, and then select all of these edges and bring it just a bit back. Alright, we're trying to get it almost like the picture, to where it kind of curves in onto the actual barrel. You can see over here where it actually kind of just nestles right in here, and it kind of curves up over the top. And that's kind of what we've achieved. Okay. Now what we're going to want to do here is bring these out a bit, I think. That way we can increase the curve. So let's actually select all these and bring them over here. Okay. And let's maybe move these forward. Maybe just grab these and move them forward. Okay, there we go. That looks really nice. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so now what we've got is a little issue right here. Not really an issue, but it'll just lead to some troubles down the line. So we're going to try to fix it. So click these edges right here, and then on the other side click the same ones. Okay, now we're going to want to just bring them down a bit. Okay, press R and scale them back out. They're just getting a little too close for comfort. Click these two. On the other side, click this one and this one, and we're gonna also scale these out just a bit. Okay, there we go, and turbo smooth that, and there we go. Now we have a nice clean result, except for this little area right here, but we'll get rid of that with time. So let's go over here. And let's see, what do we want to do? Click our polygons. We want to select the entire back face of this structure here. So hit Q, just so we can select them at our leisure. I believe that is all of them. It looks like it is. Let's continue extruding. So give it a few more segments here, and let's see. So now what's going to happen is we're going to want to start curving our geometry to fit the gun here. Okay. There we go. And let's click this one, push RE, sorry, and curve it, maybe one less. Alright, and select these to about here. E, rotate it once, I believe. Yeah, once should do. And align it. Bring this down just a bit. And align that right up. There we go. So now we can see what we have here. It looks like we do have a bit too much geometry with these lines right here. So what we can try to do, how many? We're gonna click these. We're gonna try to delete one side. So let's first save this as version 4, just in case it doesn't work. Let's delete, 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 and delete. I'll go to our vertices here. Target weld. Alright, so let's target weld this to this, this to this, and we'll just carry on down the line here. Now we are creating triangles, which is never a good thing. Alright, so let's delete this and target weld and cap. Okay, let's see what kind of terror we caused. Oh, actually that worked out quite nicely. So that was the one side, and here's the other side that we fixed. So you see we do have some issues somewhere in here, but we can deal with them. Next, what I'm going to want to do is select these edges right here and just kind of drag them out. And I want to kind of get rid of this curve. So what we're going to do is, since these are about aligned, we're just going to drag these, slowly bring them down. Okay. Just so that they start aligning together. This will also help to even out the mesh. So that way we're further smoothing it out. Okay. And let's take the next level here and do the same thing with it. Just kind of place it right in the middle. Or keep going back to check it to see if we're making any progress. I believe this is our last little bit right here. Alright. And we're done. So when we take it off, that's what we get. It looks pretty smooth. And I think that's exactly what we want. And we may have to increase the size of it. Well, we will have to increase the size of it eventually. But for now, it's good. So let's do what we did to the other side over here. So I believe we have to delete. Let's see, let's go in here. Press Z just so we can zoom in here. And delete these ones. Is that exactly what we deleted on the other side? Yes, it is. Okay, so here, target weld, and let's weld them all together. For some reason, it doesn't want to weld that one, just like on the other side, so I simply delete this. Go back to your target weld. Okay, and click and cap it off. There we are. Now that we've got that, now you can see it's a little flat when we turbo smooth it, so let's increase this all. So let's select, let's go on our left viewport, or front viewport maybe. There we go. Select all 4 of these. Maybe starting from here. Okay. Go back into our perspective. Alright, push R and simply scale them out. Oops, watch out. Make sure this is on uniform. And there we go. What we're trying to do is just make a kind of a circular shape here. Ever so slowly though, you don't want to overdo it. Alright, now extend them out a little more. Okay. And get rid of it. And finally, last little bit. There we go. You select these 2, press W, and move them up a little bit. And then that actually looks pretty good. Okay. So there we go. Now we're kind of creating this circular handle. Alright, let's go back in here, select polygons, and select this, and deselect all of these. So now we've just got the back selected. Alright, extrude. Alright, press W, let's move it, E to rotate it, and R just to scale it down a bit. Extrude again, E to rotate, W to move, and let's rotate a little bit more. Alright, and extrude again. This time make it a bit smaller. E to rotate, W to maneuver it into position, and R just to get the scale right. Okay. Extrude, and E to rotate, W to move, and R to increase the size. Alright, let's drag it right up to here. There we go. Alright, make sure it still looks pretty good. And that is looking perfect. Alright, so let's see next. I'll try to make this kind of sphere shape. So select all our polygons that we previously had selected. Alright, extrude, and this is actually going to be a rather small extrusion. Okay, push R and scale it out quite a bit. W. Okay. Extrude again, a little extrusion. Bring it down. We're trying to create that kind of crevice. Extrude. This one's a bit more. R, and scale it in. W. R. Okay. Extrude. Scale. Extrude and scale. W. Alright, now for this one we can actually bring it in all the way. Press Z, so you can see we have kind of a ridiculous thing, so let's actually delete it. Click cap. Alright, and then we can inset it. So select the polygon, inset, and there we go. Now what we can do is check it out, and so that's what we have. And that actually looks really, really good. So Control Z, let's actually hide that as well. Alright, so there we have more or less our pistol. So we're going to go in here, and I'm actually going to edit these. So select all these, press E, rotate, and just kind of bring it over there, just so the edge isn't quite as harsh. There we go. Alright. Just kind of looking at it just to see what needs changing, if anything. And I think what I'm going to do is select these right here, press R, and I'm going to scale them out just a bit. Alright, that way that section's a little bit fatter. Okay. Let's see. Now we're going to work on this section right here. This kind of like shell that holds the ramrod in place. So unhide all. Now what we can do to kind of cheat is select these polygons here, and then press W, and simply shift drag them, clone to object, and there we go. So now what we've got is our own little object right here. And let's actually hide that for now, and hide that for now, just so we can get the basic shape of this. So effect pivot only, centered object. Okay. And let's bring these out. Okay. That looks pretty good. Alright, so let's bring these over here. Bring these to about here. And we're going to connect. Okay. Push one and give those a connection. And now we're going to delete all the stuff inside. Okay, delete. That way we just have an open space that we can work with. Unhide everything. Now we're going to want to select the top two edges of our thing here. Okay. And shift drag them up. Alright, this will make new edges. Okay, so now that we've got those, hide that, oops, hide selected, edge. We can come in here and just start increasing our height and merging all this so it fits. So push R and just kind of move it all in. Now that we got those, now we can select just the two outside edges and bridge it. Okay, select this, connect with 2, push 1, and simply drag these up to make the top. And that should be the entirety of our little shell. Okay, let's put a turbo smooth. There we go. And now what we can do is go back here, apply a shell modifier, and give it a little more thickness. Perfect. Okay, now once we get this, do an edit poly modifier. Okay, go to edge mode, click all the edges here. So shift click, connect, 2 connections, and kind of drag them out. Now do the same on the other side. Click, shift click, connect. Okay. Now when you do our turbo smooth, see we have a nice smooth section here. Alright, let's actually go back in here and turn that off. Press 1 and just make sure that this is nice and aligned. Alright. Gotta watch out, sometimes your mouse decides to go off in a weird direction. Alright, there we go. Now we've got our shell, unhide all. And it kind of wraps really nicely around that. So let's hide selection, and just double check that all of our mesh is where we actually want it. Okay. Now we can select, let's see, these polygons and extrude them out. Alright, and then do it once more, extrude. Bring them here, move them down, rotate them a bit. Push 1, select this, rotate them a bit as well. And move them down. Select all these, push R. We're going to scale them just out a bit. Okay? That way we kind of have the piece that flares out and cradles the ramrod. Alright, let's save this. That's 5. There we go. And so now we got that. Alright. Now this ramrod isn't actually perfectly straight. So let's go here, E, and turn angle snap off, and let's just rotate it just a bit downward. Okay. And then select this, go into our edit poly section, vertices, turn off our turbo smooth, and simply drag these up a little bit, just like that. Right, that way it just kind of meshes a little bit better. Hide that so we can see what we're doing here. Alright, so you can see that we need to edit some things. So click this, turn it off, edit poly vertices, and let's actually scale all these inward. So that works. And then go into deselect these. Alright. Scale them in. And deselect these. And finally scale all these in. Now deselect the outer edges here. Press W and move these down a bit. Alright. Let's go to our vertices here and simply drag them down just a bit. Okay. Turn it back on. And there we go. Looking a little better. So I'm not sure quite how it works. There's probably some indentation here. But we can get to that later. Alright, so go to our edit poly. And edge, click, connect. Do it with only one. We'll slide it right over to here to get a nice hard edge. Okay. And then we will click, connect. Actually, I forgot we're doing this on both sides, so click, shift click, connect, and slide it down the other direction. There we go. And let's go back into our edges here and deselect everything on the top. Simply move these away. Alright, there we go. That way it's not so harsh. Alright, there we have it. We've got our barrel banding. Next, we're going to want to unhide all. Let's just save that again. F3. And oops. Hide selection. Make a cylinder right here. Okay. Unhide all. Now that we have our cylinder, let's position it. Alright. And convert it to an editable poly. Push 1 and simply drag these ones out the other side. Select both the polygons and bevel. And just give it a quick inward bevel and then inset it. And actually we can give it a bit more. Alright. And give that a quick turbo smooth. And there we go. Okay. That looks pretty good. So now let's work on the trigger, I guess. So we can just use a box. Alright. I'm not quite sure how thick this is, but we can always change the thickness later. Convert to an editable poly, and let's just start adjusting here. Okay, there we go. Extrude this. Let's do it twice. Alright, W, and move it up. Move that up into there. Okay, let's move this over here. Select this, connect it once. Oops. Let's go here, click and shift click, connect. There we go. Move this into position and select this, extrude, and extrude it down to make this kind of little knob thing. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but actually I think I know what it is. Let's undo that and click on these edges right here. Extrude. Okay. Push R and decrease it. Extrude. Okay, extrude one more time. Control Z. And increase it again. Alright. It's kind of like a plate that goes on the outside of this, I think. And then we can push 1. Simply bring it down. Alright, let's add a turbo smooth. We give it 2 iterations. That way we can see the little piece we made. Alright, so what we're going to need to do is get all these, connect, 2, and bring the pinch out. Alright, that'll stop most of it. And then let's select these and these, connect it once, and slide it to one end. Alright, and finally select all these, connect it once, right in the middle. Okay, push 1, and we're just going to kind of drag this in to give it a curve. Right, there we go. Now we've got our handle, and we're going to actually put these back. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's hide selection. Zoom in on this. And go into our front viewport here. And line it up as best we can. There we go. I think it's going to be a little skinnier than that. So press R. Effect pivot only, centered object, and scale it in. There we go. That looks about right. Although, let's go to edge, click, and then shift click, connect 1, and let's drag this down a bit. There we go. Give it a bit of a rounded edge. And then let's bring these even a bit more in. There we go. That looks nice. Okay. Let's see, what's next? I think what we've got to do is, let's see, unhide all. So right to about, let's see, right about here, we have a piece that extends from here, seems like all the way to the bottom. And so what we're gonna do is try to make that piece. So click our editable poly here, and let's click all of these. I think this is about what we want. And go to Q just so you don't move anything. Okay, press W and just shift drag it down, and clone it to object 2 is fine. Alright, now that we've got this, let's decrease the size of it. So you're going to want to scale it inward, actually effect pivot only, center to object. Okay, scale it inward a bit, like that. And then over here, we're going to want to press W and make this kind of a rounded shape. Let's loop these. And loop. Alright. We're going to shift drag these up. Okay. Deselect the majority of them and then move these over. Okay, there we go. So let's actually change this to a different color so we can see it. Green should be fine. There we go. So now you can kind of see what we're creating here. Add a turbo smooth. Give it 2 iterations. Alright, go back into our editable poly. F3, click and click, connect. And you can give it 2 connections, and we'll just pinch them out. There we go. Now click and click. Actually, I guess we need all of these, don't we? 1, 2, 3. Actually, no. 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. Connect with only one segment. And okay, we can't do that. So let's go back to our editable poly here. F3. So you see, we have now a nice hard edge. This is kind of the piece that curves around it. So let's just bring it up a bit, right to about here. Alright, come over here, push 1, and F3. Let's increase these a bit so they come out. Alright, bring this one out. Alright, there we go. So I have that nice band of metal. Editable poly. We need to add a segment on this one, so connect and slide it down. There we go. That'll just harden that edge off right there. And vertex, just bring them out. There we go. Alright, maybe bring these ones in a bit. Just a bit though. Alright. So let's save this as 6. Alright. Now it looks like there is a little a screw here or something, so let's go to a cylinder. You can use auto grid and just place it right here. Alright, and let's convert it to an editable poly. Select the topmost polygon and just give it a quick bevel. Okay, and you can turbo smooth it. And actually, let's select the bottom face here and simply inset it. There we go. And sink it down in there. Alright, go into the front viewport here, or the left-hand viewport, and just make sure it's centered up about as good as possible. There we go. Back into our perspective. We can delete that. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. So you see our whole little thing's coming together, and we can actually delete this. We don't need that anymore. Let's give this a different color, kind of a gray. Yeah, heck, we'll just give this a brown. We'll give this and this gray. Alright, and then just for the sake of giggles, we'll give this, this, and this kind of a gold color. Alright, and that's going to be gray. There we go. So you can kind of see, what we've done. I guess that'll wrap it up for part 2. In part 3, we'll continue on building the trigger shield here, as well as adding some extra nuts and bolts, and then we might progress on to the main flintlock mechanism. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe my channel, and I'll see you in the next part.